The season is done, so what 5 drivers have impressed me the most this season? Starting off with number 5, Pierre Gasly. His season started a bit slow with Alpine being crap at the start of the year, but he had a really solid run with 2 P10s and 2 P9s between Monaco and Austria, but the area that's really put him here is the end of the year. After Alpine brought upgrades in Austin, I think it was, Gasly has been up there towards the front of the midfield. After a P10 in Mexico, Alpine arguably, yes, got a bit lucky in Brazil with the red flag and all the madness with the conditions and all that, but it does not take away from the fact that he was able to keep Russell behind him for the remainder of that race and not crack under any pressure. Then he had a phenomenal qualifying in Las Vegas to put a P3 on the grid. In Qatar, he again withstood the pressure being put on him, this time by Carlos Sainz, lap after lap, able to keep him behind to finish P5, and then he had another strong point score in Abu Dhabi after another strong drive where he did run in and around the top 5 for a while before he pitted. The Pierre Gasly we saw in those final few rounds was a return of the Pierre Gasly we saw around 2021. That consistently in the midfield driver. That really strong driver getting the best result he's able to with the machinery he has beneath him. And it helped him break into the top 10 of the Drivers' Championship, and it helped Alpine finish 6th in the Constructors, which is better than they'd have expected at the start of the year. And not to mention, he did not cost Alpine a penny in crash damage, which is incredible. It's very impressive. The first time that's ever happened in F1 history, I believe it is, where a driver has not cost the team any crash damage. It's crazy. And it's not like he was in a racing fog. As we all saw and as we just established, he was. So, well done, Pierre Gasly. In 4th, I'm putting Oscar Piastri, the 4th driver to ever complete every single lap in a season. The Aussie really made a step for season 1 into season 2, going for a solid rookie who makes you think, yeah, this kid could win a championship someday. I call him a kid as if he isn't just 2.5 months younger than me. In year 1, to a really good driver who you're more sure of, yeah, he can win a championship someday. In year 2, he's proven himself capable of leading races and taking wins in Hungary and Baku. The Baku win showing he's able of withstanding pressure from behind lap after lap after lap. After he went for that movement to turn 1 and made it stick, he had Leclerc within a second for the next 30 laps or so, before the Ferrari eventually fell away because its tires were cooked. And it wasn't as if Leclerc wasn't trying to make a move, because he was trying to get by Oscar. He was going for moves into turn 1, but Oscar was just always placing the car correctly to be able to head him off and keep the lead. Yes, I'm aware of that McLaren had the mini DRS thing in Baku, but I'm not getting into that. Regardless of that, Oscar still put in a brilliant performance to withstand the pressure of a driver who many people do think, yep, Leclerc is a champion in waiting. Same can be said for Piastri, and his performance in Monaco was brilliant as well. He missed it on pole and the win at his adoptive home race, but he was able to keep the pressure on or a little distantly on Leclerc during a good portion of the race, even if he was never really going to be able to make a move unless Leclerc made a mistake, which he didn't, because Monaco. Is there still areas where Piastri can improve? Yes, of course. I mean, he's only in his 2nd season, he's obviously still got learning to do, but Oscar Piastri had a really good year. 4th in the championship in only his 2nd season, and if he can make a similar step from year 2 to year 3 as he made from year 1 to year 2, I cannot wait to see what he can do next year. Taking a podium in 3rd, it has to be Lando Norris. Now, did he make mistakes this year? Yes. Yes, he did. But was this also really his and McLaren's first season of consistently fighting at the front for race wins, race in, race out? Also, yes. And overall, despite everything, did he still have a great year? Also, yes again. While he can work on lap 1, having lost the lead on the opening lap on 6 of the 8 times he took pole this year, the man still had some commanding wins this year. In Zandvoort, once he got past Max, he just cleared off. In Singapore, he finally converted pole to still leading on the 2nd lap, and he never let go of that P1 spot. And the same can be said for Abu Dhabi, where he led every single lap, which secured McLaren the Constructors' Championship. And he's had some strong podium finishes elsewhere as well, coming so close to the win in Imola, but having to settle for 2nd, coming back up roaring towards Max and late in the race, eventually playing the team game and taking 2nd in Hungary, 2nd in Mexico, to name a few. And with 13 podiums this year, that's the most he's ever taken in a single season. And it goes without saying that he's only won his first race this year. His tally of 4 wins is the most he's gotten in a season as well. And this is best ever finishing the championship with 2nd place, his first time breaking into the top 5. Norris has had a good year. With the mistakes, yes, but he still had a really good year, to be honest. And if he can work on the mistakes and not make the same ones next year, if McLaren have a good car, which they probably will, it's probably going to be close at the top next year, Norris could be a good contender next year, you know, with the Ferrari drivers, with Max. And I tell you what, if Piastri, as I said, can make another step into next year, McLaren could be quite interesting next year between those two. Oh, and if you want to see the drivers who've disappointed me the most this year, subscribe to stay tuned for that video. In second, for me, is Max Verstappen. No, the champion was not, in my opinion, the best driver this year. He was still great though. He really carried Red Bull and achieved the best results he could with the car he had after we'd gone to the point of Red Bull no longer being the dominant team. He had his not great moments, you know, Mexico to name one, turn one, Abu Dhabi wasn't great, whatever your opinion there is. But even on his bad days, where he was finishing between 4th and 6th, and his being able to just get the results he could on that day when he still didn't have the best car anymore, be it 3rd or 5th or whatever, it allowed him to hang on and still take the title after his commanding start to the season, winning 7 of the first 10 races. And his drive in Brazil honestly is a contender for one of, if not the driver of the season. He just has a knack in the wet, knowing where to place the car and just finding the grip, and when he did hit the front, he just fucked off. Maybe his skill on the wet comes to the fact that he's Dutch, but whatever. He really dominated those first 5 races of the year. Okay, aside from Australia, which he DNF'd, but you get my point. And from there, he got a few more wins and just managed to hold on for the title. Now, did he get a bit lucky with others dropping points and messing up? Yeah, but that doesn't take away anything for the fact that he still won it all, and with 2 race weekends remaining in the season. And he really proved that to beat him over a season, you need to bring your A game. Whether he can hold on to his driver's champion crown by the end of next year for a 5th straight title remains to be seen, but whatever happens and whoever wins, it's bound to be a great fight for the title next year when it does come. And finally, the driver who I think was the best this year, Charles Leclerc. Yeah, I know, a Leclerc fan saying that Charles is the driver who impressed her most this year. Who could have seen that coming? Look, any bias aside, I am not just saying all I'm about to say because he's my favorite driver, but he really was, in my opinion, the driver this season. This has been arguably Leclerc's best season in F1 yet. Except for poles, 22 was definitely his best year for poles. But this year there seems to be a bit more focus on race day than qualifying day. The car tended to just seem better in race trim than quali trim, and that's paid off. Most points he scored in a single season, most podiums he scored in a single season, tied himself for the most wins he's got in a single season. Not matched his best driver's championship position, but it is only one below. But he still got top 3. He had that hugely emotional win in Monaco, where yes, he wasn't likely to be overtaken by Oscar, but you know, the Aussie was running close enough for a large portion of the race, around half a second to 2.5 seconds behind her, so for one mistake and the Aussie is either right on his gearbox or past him. And you know, the walls are close in Monaco. Then there was the management and strategic masterclass in Monza, the driver of car 16 managing to go the distance on the hard tires he put on at the start of lap 16 to win the 16th race of the season at 16:16 local time for his 2nd win at the Italian Grand Prix. And then there was the turn 1 perfection, and then just fucking off up front and getting a rather surprising win in Austin. Then that race in Abu Dhabi, holy hell, it's like he was racing at 0% AI on lap 1. He just went out of the gates driving like a man possessed. I still don't know why everyone was clusterfucking on the inside at turn 6 and to the left and the open goal on the outside, but like with Max's 17th to 1st in Brazil, Charles' 19th to 3rd in Abu Dhabi is a contender for one of, if not the drive of the year. He scored points in 21 of the 24 Grand Prix this year, and every single one of those 21 points finishes was a top 5, which is, I believe, the most top 5s of anyone this year. Really, he was one of the most consistent drivers this year. He's had not great moments, yeah, the 3 races he didn't score in, you know, that kind of bad run in the middle of the year, but overall, I'd say this was his most mistake-free and most complete year, if you catch my drift. So, yeah, he's been the driver who's impressed me the most this year, and I cannot wait to see what he can do next year if Ferrari can provide the car for him. And an honourable mention to Ollie Behrman, who only did 3 races, but in those 3 races, all of which he was either thrown in at the deep end for late call-ups to just no an easy track to conditions, he was quite impressive, and I'm keen to see what he can do next year across a full season. What has impressed you the most this season? Let me know your thoughts, do it in the comments below, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.